the unseen hours. I always believed our house had secrets. But nothing had prepared me for the chilling discovery I made one languid summer evening. As I rummaged through the attic, a glint of black caught my eye. Tucked behind old family albums, I found an ancient video camera, its surface cold and dusty. Curiosity piqued, I wiped the lens and pressed play. The screen flickered to life, revealing footage of my family sleeping. The camera panned across their peaceful faces, lingering on the rise and fall of their chests. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized the video was time-stamped last night. But that was impossible. I was home alone. The camera had captured more than just slumber, it had recorded something sinister lurking in the shadows. A figure, barely discernible, stood at the foot of each bed, watching, waiting. Its presence was an unnatural void, a distortion in the air that made my heart race. I paused the video, my hands trembling. The house was silent, save for the soft hum of the camera. I replayed the footage, searching for clues, but found none. The figure remained an enigma, its motives obscured by the grainy resolution. As night fell, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The camera had become a portal to a nightmare, and I was the unwilling voyeur. I locked it away, hoping to forget, but sleep eluded me. Every creak and whisper of the house was a reminder of the unseen observer. The next morning, I scoured the house for signs of intrusion. Every window was secure, every door locked. Yet, the unease clung to me like a second skin. I decided to set up the camera, to catch the watcher in the act. But as darkness approached, I questioned my resolve. Was I ready to face the truth of what lurked in the shadows? The day dragged on, each second stretching into eternity as I awaited nightfall. The camera sat ominously on the mantelpiece, its lens staring blankly into the room. I busied myself with mundane tasks, trying to keep the dread at bay. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, my resolve wavered. I activated the camera before retreating to my room, the red recording light a baleful eye in the gathering gloom. I lay in bed, feigning sleep, my ears straining for any sound out of place. Hours passed, and just as I began to hope it was all a figment of my imagination, a faint whisper broke the silence. The voice was indistinct, a susurration that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. I held my breath, listening intently. The whispers grew louder, forming words I couldn't understand. They were coaxing, insidious, worming their way into my mind. I forced myself out of bed, compelled to confront the source. The house was dark, the only light emanating from the camera's display. The whispers guided me, leading me down the hallway to my parents' room. The door creaked open, revealing the empty bed bathed in moonlight. The whispers stopped abruptly, leaving a heavy silence in their wake. I approached the camera, heart pounding, and played back the recording. The footage showed me asleep, then rising and walking to my parents' room. But there was no sign of the whisperer. Confusion and fear mingled within me. Was I going mad? Or was there truly something in our home, something that defied explanation? I decided to delve deeper into the camera's contents, hoping to find answers. What I discovered was a series of videos, each more disturbing than the last. The final video ended with a chilling revelation. The whisperer was not just an observer, it was a harbinger. And as the camera zoomed in on a shadowy corner of the room, I realized with horror that the whisperer had always been there, waiting for its moment to emerge. The night was oppressive, a thick blanket of darkness that seemed to suffocate the very air. I sat huddled in front of the camera, its screen casting an eerie glow on my face. The videos I had found were a chronicle of terror, each one revealing more of the whisperer's insidious nature. I watched, transfixed, as the final video played. It showed my family, unaware of the malevolent force that had invaded our home. The whisperer's shadow loomed over them, a dark specter of malice. And then, it turned its attention to me. The camera zoomed in, and I saw it, the whisperer's true form. It was a distortion of reality, a creature of nightmares. Its eyes were hollow pits of despair, its mouth a gaping maw of darkness. It whispered promises of oblivion, its voice a cacophony of every fear I'd ever known. I realized then that it fed on terror, growing stronger with each panicked breath. The video ended abruptly, and I was left in silence. I knew I had to act to protect my family from this entity. I scoured the house for any sign of the whisper, but it was as if it had vanished into thin air. Yet, the feeling of being watched never left me. As dawn approached, I made a decision. I would use the camera to lure the whisperer out. I set it up in my room, the red light blinking steadily. I lay down, pretending to sleep, the camera on my silent sentinel. Hours passed, and just as the first light of day crept through the curtains, I heard it, the whisper. It was closer now, more insistent. I opened my eyes and saw the whisper, its form flickering like a faulty signal. It reached out, its hand a blur of static. I lunged for the camera, turning it to face the whisperer. The creature recoiled as if struck, its form dissolving on the screen. I held my breath, hoping against hope that I had banished it. But then, the whisperer's voice filled the room, a single, chilling sentence that froze my blood. "You cannot escape the unseen hours." The camera died, its screen going black. I was plunged into darkness, the whisperer's words echoing in my mind. I knew then that the battle was far from over. The whisperer was part of our home now, a shadow that would always linger. Story 2. The echoes of hollow laughter. Every night, as the clock chimes midnight, a chilling symphony begins next door. The abandoned house, with its boarded-up windows and overgrown garden, becomes a playground for invisible children. Their laughter, a haunting melody, seeps through the cracks in the walls, filling my room with echoes of a life that once was. I moved into this neighborhood seeking solace after a tumultuous past. The house was a bargain, they said, because of the stories. I never believed in ghost tales, but now, each night, the laughter tests my skepticism. It's a sound that shouldn't exist, yet it's as real as the fear crawling under my skin. Tonight, I muster the courage to confront the source. As I approach the derelict house, the laughter grows louder, more tangible. I press my face against the cold glass of the window, peering into the darkness. Silence greets me, a stark contrast to the cacophony just moments before. The air inside feels charged, heavy with whispers that dance just beyond hearing. I wander through the rooms, each step stirring up dust and memories. The walls are lined with faded wallpaper, peeling away to reveal older, darker stains beneath. In the parlor, a grand piano sits, its keys yellowed with age. A compulsion takes over, and I press a key. The note hangs in the air, a somber invitation. That's when I hear it, a giggle, soft and sinister, coming from the shadows. I spin around, searching for the source, but find nothing. The laughter builds again, surrounding me, mocking my fear. It's then I realize the truth, the children aren't in the house. They are the house. And they're not inviting me to play, they're inviting me in, forever. As the realization dawns, the floorboards creak behind me. I turn, and for a fleeting moment, I see them, translucent figures, eyes hollow, mouths agape in silent laughter. Then, the world goes black. The darkness is absolute, a void where even the concept of light seems a distant memory. My heart races, each beat a drum echoing in the emptiness. Panic grips me, but a whisper in the depths of my mind urges calm. I'm not alone. A faint glow begins to materialize, revealing the outlines of the parlor. The children, mere wraiths in the gloom, circle around me. Their features are blurred, but their intentions are clear. They beckon me to join their endless game. I resist, trying to back away, but the room stretches, distorting reality. The children's laughter grows louder, a cacophony that threatens to shatter my sanity. I cover my ears, but the sound is inside my head, a relentless tide. "Who are you?" I shout into the darkness. The laughter stops abruptly, replaced by a multitude of whispers. "We are the forgotten," they say, "the ones who played too long." Memories flood through me, not my own. I see the house in its heyday, filled with joy and life. Then tragedy, a fire that consumed everything. The children were trapped, their laughter turning to screams that went unheard. I understand now. They're trapped in a limbo, their spirits bound to the house, repeating their last moments in an eternal loop. They're not malicious, they're lost, yearning for release. A plan forms in my mind. If I can recreate the scene, acknowledge their presence, maybe they'll find peace. I need to act quickly. The air grows colder, the shadows darker. It's as if the house itself is fighting back, unwilling to let go of its inhabitants. I start to arrange the room, mimicking the memories I saw. The piano plays a somber tune, the soundtrack to a final act. As I work, the children watch, their whispers growing hopeful. The room is set, a perfect replica of that fateful day. I hold my breath and wait. The children gather close, their forms gaining clarity. They smile, and for a moment, they're just kids, innocent and full of life. Then, a scream pierces the night, not from the children, but from somewhere deeper in the house. It's a new sound, one filled with pain and anger. The children's expressions turn to terror. They fade away, leaving me alone with the scream that grows louder, closer. The scream that tore through the silence was not of this world. It resonated with a pain so profound, so visceral, that it threatened to consume everything in its path. I stood frozen, my heart pounding against my ribs like a frantic prisoner seeking escape. The house seemed to breathe with a life of its own, the walls pulsating with the force of the scream. I could feel it in my bones, a vibration that spoke of ancient agonies and secrets buried deep within the foundation of this cursed place. I had to find the source. Driven by a mix of fear and determination, I moved deeper into the house, each step taking me further from the realm of the living and closer to the heart of darkness that lay at its core. The hallway stretched before me, lined with portraits of people whose eyes followed my every move. Their gazes were filled with sorrow, and I realized they too were part of this tragic tapestry, their souls woven into the very fabric of the building. The scream led me to a door, different from the others. It was older, heavier, with carvings that depicted scenes of joy turning to horror. I reached out, my hand trembling, and pushed it open. Inside was a room untouched by time. Toys lay scattered on the floor, a dollhouse sat in the corner, and a rocking horse gently moved back and forth as if just vacated. The air was thick with the scent of smoke and something else, something sinister. I heard it again, the scream, but now it was accompanied by a voice. "Help me," it pleaded, a whisper against my ear so real I spun around, expecting to see someone behind me. But there was no one. The room began to change, the walls cracking and peeling, revealing charred wood and blackened stone. The toys aged before my eyes, rotting and disintegrating into dust. The scream grew louder, more insistent. I understood then that this room held the key to the house's pain, the epicenter of the tragedy that had claimed so many lives. And it wanted me to witness it, to share in the torment that had been its existence for so long. As the room decayed around me, the children's laughter returned, but it was different now, filled with sorrow and regret. They were not the tormentors, they were the tormented, and they needed me to free them. But how? The answer lay in the scream, in the voice begging for help. I had to listen, to understand what it wanted. I closed my eyes, letting the sound wash over me, and when I opened them again, I was no longer alone. The end. Subscribe for more. Thank you.